Hey guys, Jen here, and today we're revisiting my high school game collection with an obscure title called Okage Shadow King. Okage Shadow King is a JRPG developed by Zener Works and released to the PlayStation 2 in 2001. This game was one of only 3 titles the studio has released to date, none of which have ever really made any huge waves in the gaming community, but Okage is definitely an interesting game to pick up and play. You play as Ari, a young boy whose sister is afflicted with a curse. After the whole family sits down and sells their souls to the devil, evil King Stan, a shadow demon, appears. He demands to occupy the best body there, and guess who that ends up being? Poor Ari is forced to have Stan inhabit his shadow, and in return, Stan disables the curse on Ari's sister. Ari is now under Stan's control and must assist him with his plans for world takeover. It's a pretty raw deal for Ari. His family just sort of shrugs the whole thing off and sends Ari on his way. As Stan pushes Ari to conquer the world, they both learn more about themselves, blah blah blah, you know the drill. I won't lie, I bought Okage because it was pretty. I was standing in a Babbage's trying to pick out something new to occupy my time, and the box art stood out. I'm not wrong, I mean, look at the art style. The second you start up the game, you get a good idea of the kind of creative design that you'll be experiencing throughout. It's like if Tim Burton made a video game. The characters are all very unique and quite adorable, but they have a creepy air about them, like they might bite your ear off if you turn your back. Okage is unlike anything I've played before, which is both good and not so good. Some elements of an RPG should be a given, especially in the battle system, but Zener Works left them out. I loved this game blindly without really taking a microscope to it, but when I did, for this review, I found there were quite a lot of design flaws. So bear with me here, I'm going to spend some time talking about the problems with the battle system. As you all know, in an RPG, you spend a great deal of time in battle, so the issues with the overall system becomes quite prevalent. The level of player thought involved in battle is quite low. You can just basically button mash X until the battle is over. Rarely do you have to consider who you focus on or what attack you use, magic or melee. And even if you wanted to pay attention to exactly what enemy you're attacking, in some cases you can't. During battle, enemies of the same type are grouped together, like Perky Frog times 10. You can't specifically choose which of the enemies you'd like to take down, so getting the group to focus on a specific enemy is impossible. It can be very frustrating at times, especially since this game came out well after other games offering more complex battle systems. If this was in an effort to relax gameplay and make this more accessible to a less experienced audience, mission accomplished, but now that I'm older, it's just boring. There are up to 10 enemies in any given battle, which is supposed to be exciting and dynamic, with characters flying all over the screen, but it's mostly just plain confusing. It's easy to lose track of when it's time to heal up if you can't remember how many of your enemies still have a turn left. Rounding out the last of my complaints, you can't pause the game during battle. This is just a strange design choice on the part of Zener Works, as you can pause at any other point during Okage. Now that I'm done with my battle systems rant, I can explain what enraptured me about Okage so many years ago. The other parts of this title come together to create an engaging game. The environments are well developed with a distinct feel to each separate area, and the music is fantastic. The overall whimsy of Okage is what made this game something I loved and allowed me to overlook the larger faults. The plot of the game is surprisingly amazing. For a game that seems fairly straightforward, there's a solid twist at the end that you couldn't guess unless you looked it up on Wikipedia. Without giving too much away, I recall being floored at the turn from a jovial and slapstickish comedy to something genuinely dramatic. The real gems, in my opinion, are in what I assume to be improper translations. The dialogue is hilarious, be it unintentional or not. Okage clocks in at around 9 or 10 hours, so you can consider this game a light RPG in all respects. The saving grace for more experienced gamers is the game's attitude. Okage comes to play with little pretension and no accolades, and in all honesty, I have no idea how anyone else out there will like it. It exists in a gray area of not bad, but also not great, so I can't solidly recommend it. If you can nab a copy cheap, maybe give it a shot over a weekend or something, formulate your own opinion. If not, no big deal.